What's the meaning of this disturbance?
And we're back. Another good show. I did not let the video finish because it's a TikTok video still. So I need to mess around with it later. Guys, thank you once again for joining the Comic Menu with me and Cesar. I'll get him on real quick because he doesn't need an introduction. He's just Cesar.
I'm just here. We're having a good show, man. We got a guy I've known for a while, Brian Asher, the one half of the Comic Corner.
Comic Corner.
And one talented mofo, Mr. Sanchez.
Bro, he's like a gentle giant with
Isn't
fucking, he's talented as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised. I mean, he could have been a fucking right guard for the Cowboys, but he chose to be an artist. So, I mean, I'm surprised, right?
Right.
So, with that being said, we're going to get one of the pretty ones because, fortunately, I got some looks, and then these guys show up, and then they take it away. I'll suck it up for now. And we got Brian first from the one half.
The one half.
The one half, yeah. The other one's shirtless in the tent.
I'll be the comic. Wait, the corner's not here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got nothing to say to that, honestly, because we saw, like Cesar said, I've seen him shirtless already.
Yeah. That's where the other guy is at, in a tent shirtless.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He's one with nature. That's what it is.
We're privy to some information there, Brian, that you don't know.
Apparently, info that I have not even received yet. Probably a good thing.
And then we got David. I'm sorry, David, you walked into some X-rated conversation there, but David, I know them both for a while, but David's been on the other podcast. This is the first time with the Comic Menu, so welcome, David.
Thank you for having me, man.
Of course, we had to have you. Last time we talked, you was with the Wise Guys, and then they're talking about having a sandwich between me, you, and Steve, and you got pretty crazy over there.
That's nasty.
It was a long day. I can't remember what I said that day.
I don't remember when I said that. He made a lot of promises.
Need Jesus.
It was Fan Expo Philly. It was a long, long day.
And he said he was supposed to be between two Mexicans, so.
Damn.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it's live too, so it's recorded. So.
Well, now he's under two of them.
Yeah, that's true. So, oh shit, I'm gonna kill ants again. David.
There goes David.
This is.
He's like, and on that note,
I gotta go through this again. Oh well.
Well, that was nice. Thanks, David. I'll see you.
That was as quick as anybody's been on
the quickest interview we ever had. Yeah.
And there he comes, just like an X coming back for more.
There he is.
What did you press, David? Did you press like N?
No, I had a notification pop up and I accidentally pressed the home button. So.
Oh boy.
I had to go back into the messenger, click on the link that you sent me, and then it brought me back here.
We said that was the quickest interview we ever had with David Sanchez. It was like, hey, David, it's good to be here. Click. All right. Thank you, man.
That's what you call it.
I'm back.
Real quick before we're gonna go in depth with David what he's doing because he has a con coming up. Brian,
yes,
you first time on the show, first time we actually had you on a podcast. You actually gave away a slab back in the day.
We did.
And that was a 361 and 9.6, right? ASM 361 and 9.6, correct?
Yeah, signed, I think, wasn't it too?
I can't remember, and it was fun. We did appreciate that. It was a good. Unfortunately, today we're not giving anything for free. He did sell out. We congratulated him. Again. They did sell out on those mystery boxes. How many did you have? 30 or 20?
30.
And you sold out in a day and a half or 2 days, wasn't it?
No, it sold out the same day. Probably it took like 4 or 5 hours, but it sold out. Yeah,
damn, bro,
it's good. I think we were doing mystery boxes on Whatnot for a good while, but we we weren't ever, our goal was never to like break the bank on one single mystery box show. So there was always a lot of value. When we did the Whatnot versions, we had one book that was $2,000 to $3,000 in value. That was sort of the grand prize for anybody that got a mystery pack. They were entered into the drawing to win that big book. So you would win the book for your mystery pack, but then you were also eligible for the big one. So I think we got a pretty good reputation of having quality boxes, that we never wanted to. I mean, I've bought mystery boxes before, and you're like super excited, and you open it up, and you're like, "What the?" I don't know where they're getting their values from, but just because you put a sticker on it that says $50 doesn't make it a $50 book. I'm just saying. So we really so we only do slabs because of the subjectivity with raws, and really it makes it difficult to kind of value those. But with slabs, we've got 90-day GPA, so we can really get a fair market value for these, and ensure that no matter what, when you open your box, that it's worth at least what you paid. So if you spent $200 on the box, you're going to get a box that has $200 in slabs, and it's no more than 2 in most cases. So it's not we're not going to send you a box.
Right. It's not like you said. That's a lot of feedback, Dale. Is that you? That might be you.
Yeah, it is my feedback actually. Go ahead.
Brian, like you said, just because you put a $50 thing on it doesn't mean it's 50, right? It's not. Does it mean that just because you have a book from 1950 means that it's an old and valuable book just because it's from 1950s? It's just because it's old doesn't mean it's worth anything.
Yeah, and I think people, and I think that's what sort of unfortunately leaves a bad taste in people's mouths about the idea of mystery boxes, because there are so many, not so many, but there are retailers or sellers that put together some pretty trash packs, and there's really only one out of however many packs there are that has anything decent, and the rest are just kind of filler. So we really just try to make sure that. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I've just never been a fan of mystery bundles, I guess, because just like you said, it's like, oh, hey, I got one book that's maybe $15 and everything else is completely fillers, right? And it's like, and when you get something like that, it kind of sours you from wanting to get it again. It's like, well, if I got screwed 2 times, 3 times, why the hell am I going to do this again? It doesn't, unless, now that's another thing. If they're slabs, now we're talking, right? Because at least slabs you can display in the sense, but if a raw, how do I know that you check to make sure all the pages are complete? I'm taking your word for it. I'm taking there's the whatever's in there is not ripped out. There's not an ad ripped out, all that stuff. So it's kind of a tricky shoot.
Yeah, and I think that's I think this is a lot of things about us, is that we were sort of buyers and collectors before we were ever retailers. So those are the kind of things that we continue to remember what it's like on the other side, so that when we're doing projects or we're working on things, that we remember what that's like, and we listen to feedback. I was in a chat I don't know, last month, where somebody was talking about how much they pay for exclusives, and they come in cheap ass bags and boards, and I really took that to heart, and I was like, you know what, you're right. Like, you're paying a premium for a book, and then after that conversation, we've moved to all of our exclusives are shipped in Mylar, Mylars with fullbacks.
Yeah.
So just everything about that package should be a premium if you're paying a premium. So those are just kind of things that we listen to people and what's going on, and really want to make sure that there's value in what they're purchasing.
It makes perfect sense. If I'm paying a lot of money for a mystery bundle, I expect at least something quality back, right? Don't give me a Thor whatever shit book, like, oh, but it's from 1964, and it's like, yeah, but I
mean, look how old the tape is.
But look how old the tape is, right? Anyways.
So, with that being said, and I've gotten some stuff from Brian, and I've enjoyed it. I've been able to resell it. And talking about mystery, I've used David's Tupac cover as one of the incentives for my mystery boxes. Everybody wanted that one. It was funny because in that one, that box was the third to last picked. Everyone was like, oh, I want that one because that cover, because the one I got from you was signed and remarked. So it was beautiful book, right? And it was fun utilizing that. Like, oh, you gotta use something sexy. I had some other slabs and everything like the bigger book, each slab or comic or yours was valued at $200, and the slabs were about 250, 300. So I made sure they got a good. And my reputation is I always, honestly, I'm a bad seller when it comes to like I don't care. I've already spent the money. I just want to get something back. At that point, like I'll sell them for cheap, and everybody gets a good deal. But I did have two of those covers, and I kind of that was one of the books I do regret because that was a great cover from David. And I know there's cards now that you did recently with JSA that I kind of want to get. Right, it was with JSA, right?
It was with Verified Grade.
Verified.
It's a new company. Yeah. It's we decided to do something similar to the cover, minus the trade dress and all that stuff, and we just wanted to go the route of having the card with the embossed foil X's and make it pop basically, and it turned out really well. It did really well at Fan Expo Dallas. That's where it was kind of put on display for the first time, and honestly, it was probably about for a week or two straight following that day that I would get messages asking about those cards. And like, I'm sorry, this is it's kind of like a one-time thing, really short print run kind of thing. Not really trying to do a whole bunch with it. But no, it turned out really well. It did a lot better than what I expected. Honestly, I like the comic book better than the card, So it's not really there's really no comparison there. But it's actually nice to see when you have the actual book and then the card in front of it, and just it's aesthetically pleasing to have everything on display, especially with the other ones that they did for World Tree, and I thought those were incredible. The Mike Choi, the In-Hooks, the Kale News. I thought they did an incredible job, and just for them to ask me if I wanted to use my cover for it was an honor. So I thought, let's see what happens.
So they're saying the eyes are actually foil.
It's actually like a foil kind of embossed print on them. I thought it came out really well. Originally, I wanted to do just the photo of him because originally when I drew it, I just drew him, and then I had the X's digitally added, and because it was, I'm not going to paint a red streak over this drawing. It took me 5 days to draw, so I just don't want to mess it up. So I thought that would be a good idea to do, and honestly, it was more Verified Grade's idea than mine to come up with that kind of little bit of quality, touch to it. So did really well. Really exciting.
That Tupac cover, I was promoting this show and people were like, "Oh, so who do you have on?" I'm like, "Oh, Brian Nash from the Comic Corner, the online bidder," and I go, "David Sanchez." They're like, "Who?" I'm like, that Tupac? Oh yeah, that dude." They're like, "Oh, all right."
Not really well known or anything like that. I'm usually known for that cover. Unfortunately, I wish I was known for the other ones that I've done. Power Rangers.
It goes down that rabbit hole, right? They like see your stuff, and what else can you do, or what else does he do?
Right.
See your Insta and all your other stuff. You're like, oh shit, this guy's remarkable.
No, I've been really blessed to be able to for the success that I've had after that. I've worked on Harley Quinn. I've done TMNT. I've done Power Rangers. It was all. What's Ice Cream Man?
Yeah.
And I've done Vampirella, Draculina. I've done a lot of stuff. Most recently, the one I'm really excited about, which we also made cards of it as well, was the Ferryman Valhalla cover that I just did. I really loved that one. That was really technically the most difficult cover I've ever drawn. And I loved the way that they produced the cards for it, as well as the final trade dress look on it. But following everything I've done after that, working with Dallas Cowboys and stuff like that, all that came from that book. So it was definitely an honor to be a part of those projects, and I'm hoping to be a part of more going forward. But Yeah, that's hard to 10,000 black feathers. Yeah, that's another.
And that's because that's another artist giving you that compliment. It's I don't want to make it seem like average Joes can give you a compliment, like, oh yeah, I appreciate it. But if another artist can actually appreciate your talent more, give you that shout out, then to me, that's be more special because they know what hard work it takes to get to a cover and stuff like that.
And Dell and I have talked several times when he was transitioning into doing the exclusives as well, when he did Department of Truth, things like that. Just kind of hanging out, picking your brain, and really taking the time. And that was the most important thing, that, taking the time to actually talk with another artist and, spread that support and appreciation for what we do. His style is different than mine. So it was good to kind of learn from him in that respect, as opposed to, and then vice versa, whenever I was helping him get to that kind of starting point. Because it was kind of in the beginning stage of his exclusive, but everything that he's done since then, since our first conversation, that's all him. That's all his hard work, and all that paid off for him. So I'm super happy that he's doing really well.
I think it's a cool thing when an artist compliments another artist. It's almost like it's a community, and we try to stay away from the negativity, because there's enough of that already as it is. So to hear an artist say, hey, this guy's great, or this and that, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, if you think I'm good, this guy's even better. And they always one up each other. Well, no, if you think I'm great, well, this guy's even better, So it's a good feeling, it's a good vibe to kind of bounce that off each other, and we can need more of that because there's too much, a little bit of hate, with stuff like that. So that's good, man.
Yeah, I think it's good. There's a lot of, I think on the retailer side, there's a lot more of these. I don't know what drives it. Just bitterness or jealousy or what have you that causes sort of the infighting between retailers and the hate. But I've always appreciated that, from in the artist community, that's far less prevalent. There's definitely a much more of a supportive, nurturing, encouragement. Right, everybody wants to do covers for Marvel, and they want to get hired, but nobody's doing it at the expense of one another. Right, they just support each other in their work. You see it all the time, like when somebody will post an art drop for their next upcoming cover, and there's just a slew of other artists giving compliments and really encouraging that artist and supporting them, which is always really, really nice to see.
Yeah. That goes along with everything else. I think a lot of people just support each other, whether it comes to even your stuff, Brian. People who are like, well, do you know anyone who I should buy from? Have you checked out the Comic Corner? As a matter of fact, people are looking at my. Did you see my wall, Brian, of my stuff that I got from you?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I saw the post.
So
nice.
All of this side, that's all the Comic Corner, all the villains, the timeless villains, and 2 bundles. So people are like, "Oh man, it's gonna take me forever to collect those." I'm like, if you go to Comic Corner, that's how I got mine, and that's what it is. It's the word of mouth. It's kind of helping people with small businesses, explode and just giving good positive feedback. And the same thing with David over here, when people are like, oh, does he do any other stuff? I'm like, check his page out. You're going to be blown away. Come on. He's not a one-trick pony. This guy knows his shit and he does good shit, period.
I got to talk about that his grays. I think to me that's what I recognize you more for. Your grays and your blacks and your whites, because they're phenomenal. That's what I do. Like I remember when you did the competition for us last year. You do need your time. I'm not gonna lie, you do, but if you're given that time, right? You made something so simple makes look so good. You're utilizing just the grays, the blacks, and the whites, which was awesome.
I try my best to be as efficient and as quick as possible when it comes to projects, comes to deadlines. I'm no different than I'm sure a lot of artists out there that have been hit with deadlines and trying to meet them and things like that. I'm not perfect at all, and nor do I claim to be. I definitely am still learning. I've only been doing this for 4 years professionally, so it's still a learning process for me. But I've gained a lot of great feedback from the people that have helped me in my career, and the friendships I've made along the way. And all I can do is just progressively get better at what it is that I have in front of me. So yeah, when a simple sketch like that takes a minute for me, it's a mental battle that I'm having with myself, because I want it to look good. I want it to, especially with the group of artists that you had on the show that day too. I mean, you got to be able to compete, and that's the competitiveness inside of me. That's something that I've gained from playing football all the way up until now, and so it's a healthy competition. It's a healthy competitive feeling, but you don't want to give the person that's bidding on this crap work. You want it to be quality. You want it to be good looking work, and you want them to just look at it and just be like, wow, that's all I would assume every artist is like that. They want people to see their work and just completely just be in awe.
I don't know if you saw that Wolverine that somebody was a pretty well-known artist that.
Rumita.
Yeah, right. So I don't know that is what your statement holds true for all artists. I think,
but you know what though about Brian Wright? He made it right, apparently.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Oh yeah. Apparently Rumita, because that sketch made its way around the world with the hate, and he apparently reached out and apologized for it and sent a better sketch. And it's probably a sketch he probably took his time on and all that stuff, and was badass. But I was it his best? No, but did it deserve the hate? I mean, come on, guys. We all have, David. I'm pretty sure there's times you're like, this isn't that great, but here you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, especially when you're on a time crunch. I mean, conventions are really different because you're in the moment, and with covers, you're given them. It's all about time management, and you really have to set yourself up for success and get started early, and go through work on the harder stuff first, and then you can get it done within a reasonable time. But I mean, there have been some moments where I've given work at shows and it's been like, oh my God, I messed up there, but that's just a personal thing that I'm fighting.
So yeah, we recognize that, it's, I think I hear a lot of feedback. Is that me or is that somebody else?
That's you.
Okay, hold on, let me fix this.
It's Dale does the show from the laundry room, so.
You gotta clean your underwears, man.
That's Charlie.
All right, better.
Yeah, that's better. You turned it off, huh?
Well, I switched it to just my headset because I have this one.
No,
but
the dryer.
Now recently I posted some stuff with, I think Will was talking about, some certain artists not getting their comps and stuff like that. But and y'all work hard, right? Y'all work real hard. We got some other I'm glad y'all are here. We have No Moss Comics and we have Adrian from El Rey Comics.
Oh, look at these guys.
So recently there was a topic that Sean from Comics League we were talking about AI covers. Like we talked about it before, but publishers, right? Or not even publishers, publishers and comic books actually selling AI covers now. Like they're okay with it. What is your stance? I know, David. I don't know if you want to be quiet about it, but I'm glad we have Brian on here too to have his 2 cents. Like, would you ever sell an AI cover? And if you would, why? If you would not, why not?
Fucking Brian.
You asking me first?
Yeah. Go Brian first. Let's go with the Grady beard right there.
So I think AI is amazing in the stuff that it can produce. But at the end of the day, I think that leads us down a road where we no longer have creativity within ourselves as human beings. And so I think if you went down that road, you'd end up being forced to stay on that road. Just because your message to the artists and the community that bust their ass to practice, put in good work, and evolve. you're basically telling them that all that work is it's not worth your time, and I'll just type a prompt into a computer and it'll spit it out in 10 minutes, and I can make any changes I want and don't have to worry about it. So I think for us, I don't think we would ever go down that route. I think working with artists and traditional, whether it's digital or traditional or mixed media, but that it's a human being that's creating it from within themselves. And I think that there is something that's captured in that you can't, that I don't think any computer will ever be able to replicate.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big FU to all the artists. It's like, here it is, it's published. It's like, oh, FU David and FU Deo and FU William. It's all those guys. It's kind of like, you just said it, David. It took 4 years you're in this business to get you where you're at, and some douchebags out there going, oh, I want to see Batman climbing a mountain. And there you go. It's like, and then he sells it, and if no one's not paying attention, they're gonna buy it. And then, as we talked about, it's like, oh, who's the artist? Oh, some unknown guy, because they don't want to say who it is.
IBM, that's the artist.
Yeah, IBM. MacBook.
Yeah, so I don't know, and I think somebody else mentioned it too. That AI requires, it has to pull what it's learned from somewhere else, which means it has to pull what it knows about Batman and mountains from other images on the internet. And those images can be things that were produced by humans, and then it brings it in and then just doctors it up so that they're really stealing art and then using it on their own.
So what about you, David? Do you have an opinion on this, or you?
I mean, the way I've usually used my methods to create a cover is just references. I mean, just like in general, just using references, finding pieces, and doing it that way, because to me that's why it takes so long to do certain things. That's why you work towards that end goal of it being the best. What you're actually trying to create in your head, that comes out at the end of it. When you're using something like that, it's there's ways to use it, there's ways to go about using it, but there's not. I personally, my whole thing is I like the method that I use. I like references. I like working with people to help create covers. I like working with models to help work out lighting and different techniques and stuff like that. I mean, I've worked with cosplayers before with Something's Killing Children and stuff like that. I mean, that to me is that connection that you have with the piece that you're drawing, and that's why you're proud of the end result as it shows. There's a lot that goes into the process itself, and I personally just feel like you're cheating yourself by doing that.
Weren't you? I remember when you made that cover for Tupac, somebody accused you of just
photoshopping
or something like that, and you had to prove it, and everybody provided the information. Hey, I haven't heard from that person since then, but it's like. Now it's like it's everywhere. I still can't detect it. I had to ask Shikari some information the other day, and he gave me some pointers. But even at that, I still don't know what I'm doing or looking for. But Anvu makes a good point. It's interesting to see how book, comic artist signings, or CGC would work on AI generated content. So whatever you get AI cover you want to get signed. Would CGC, authenticated, or would it be? I honestly never thought about it until right now.
But who's going to sign it?
The person who typed the prompt into
the person, the Joe Schmo.
Like, what's happening? Like, but somebody also made a point of like the debate on if Photoshop enhancement is art. There was a big debate on that for a while. That's sort of the like in between full AI and traditional art.
Yeah, you're right. There was a big debate on it, but I think it's calmed down so much because now they're like, at least with Photoshop, they actually have to put the work and do it correctly and move stuff around. Like, and it's nothing stolen from somebody. Certainly in Photoshop, right? You have to. If it's like plain Photoshop, where you get a picture and you put different colors or something. You get an album cover and you slap a color on it differently and make it a little bit darker, and then that's completely, I'm against that. When it comes to like Photoshop, where you're just adding stuff to what something you drew or to enhance it, I'm 100% okay with that. Brian, and if y'all want to, what are your thoughts on on that? I know you said you was talking about what somebody else thought, but what are your thoughts on it? And we'll go on with David first because I want to hear his thoughts as an artist.
From the Photoshop, I mean, I remember when that was the biggest thing when I did that cover. Luckily, that's the whole point of how I draw. I'm a photorealism artist. I like to draw exactly what I see, and that's kind of how I work out things. I mean, I'm not too familiar with how to use Photoshop. Trust me, if I did, it would be super helpful with creating banners and all that stuff that I suck at doing. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into creating those covers. I know that there was a lot of heat that I saw or noticed with some artists using that, but I mean, there's still a process involved. But like it's just it's a way that you have to go about it. It's your creativity, basically, what you're good at. I personally I don't even know how to use it to even remotely have a comment on it. I just think if you're an artist that uses Photoshop, that is, that's something that you're good at. I mean, that's something I'm not great at all. So,
William made a point. Photoshop art still requires knowing what the fuck you're doing. All right. And so it's not like anyone could just pick up Photoshop and do it. There's a book on Photoshop this thick on how to be whatever. But you still, if you're drawing from scratch, that is. So it's all right, Brian. What are you thinking?
I would agree with that. I think because I mean I use Photoshop to make our COAs and do all that stuff, and I have the artistic talent of I don't know, a flea. Like that's the extent of my artistic knowledge. So if I were to try and create a cover, I wouldn't even know really where to start.
Right.
Because again, you still have to have that sort of creative spark and the way you see things and the way you kind of create that stuff in your head and it translates to the screen. So I think whoever said that is correct. Like you can't I guess there is a degree of artistry in that because you have to have that in you, and that's your brush is just the mouse, right? Like versus a regular paintbrush, or even if you're doing digital art, like there's still a brush involved and you're doing strokes and things like that, and it's just a little different, I think, when you're doing it through Photoshop. But on the other hand, those folks that are just sort of paying the subscription to Shutterfly or whatever and just using clip art, changing colors and I don't know, I guess there's some artistry in the composition and sort of knowing to put those elements together, but I think it's different than really taking kind of raw elements from other places, putting it into Photoshop and creating something.
Put that one back up.
Yeah.
So it says, okay, here's a question. What about an artist that does 2 exclusive covers, but only changes the color filters, but otherwise that are the exact same art for one cover?
Happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like think about one of the most popular covers in Something Is Killing the Children history is Frizzen 1, right?
Yeah.
That came in the regular, that came in the color splash, that came in the foil.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So it's the same art, but commanded different values.
Right.
Each,
right.
so
that's right.
There's no I think that a lot of times on anything the market decides. What about, you could say the same argument between the Virgin and the trade dress. It's the same exact art without letters. Right? I mean, at least with them changing the color scheme or the filter or a color splash, there's some change, not just removing text from the top.
It's a very touchy subject still, and it's been going on for, I want to feel like all year. It's still hot, and the thing is that the AI, we talked about this on Will's show, the AI is getting better and better and better, right? And you're still looking for the fingers and the eyes and the hair direction and stuff like that. but they still can't get certain things right. But it is getting harder for you to go, okay, all right. Is this AI or is this really drawn? Right. So you're gonna have to like really look at it. But I can see someone completely being fooled who's starting in this industry as a hobbyist, collecting books and all that. And oh my gosh, that Supergirl looks great. Somebody posts on Facebook the other day, the Asian Supergirl, and people were like, "This is fantastic. This is amazing." I'm looking, I'm going, that thumb is fucked up. Wait a minute. That hair is jacked. And then you zoom in, you're like, oh no, man, this is AI art. But tons of people are like, this is amazing. Who did this? This is great. I love it. Where can I get this cover? And I'm like, oh, see, there you go, man. It drives me crazy.
So what are you talking about, Adrian? Like, explain. So I'll read it out loud. When we had Duke Marco, we always like to get our change. We want both covers. More in my humble opinion.
Yeah, see, Marvel's a whole different ball game, right? Because it's not as easy. So if you were doing, I don't even have it. I don't have his number. I think that with Marvel, it becomes more challenging because you can't just change the art without paying. Like it starts over as a new cover. So any sort of discount you may receive for doing a virgin version of your original cover is lost, and it becomes a whole new cover, which requires the whole new minimum. So it becomes inherently more costly to do that. The independent publishers, it's a little bit easier, and you can submit 5 different pieces of art, and then but the buy-in, the minimums, the MOQs are much lower, and then the relative cost for the project, you could probably do 5 covers with Image for the same price to do 1 cover with Marvel. Throw a lies. What do you mean?
Oh, what do you mean? It's come from
Oh,
Haywood.
he's talking about the phone number. He's convinced that I have Takashi's phone number, and I don't. I've never actually talked to there's all of those costs. So Adrian's right. So retailers, like, there's a lot in the exclusive market. All of the risk falls on the retailers. At the end of the day, the publisher's getting paid, the artist is getting paid, and the retailer is left holding the bag in hopes that whatever they've put together is received by the community well, and translates to sales. And if it doesn't, again, the only one left in debt from that project is the retailer. Right. So, so we have vested interest in making sure, or trying to ensure, that we get the best art, we get the best artists, we do the most we can to improve our chances of success. Haywood, right? Telling me about it, just threw $16K down the drain. It's tough. And I think that consumers fail to realize or don't understand the financial risk retailers put themselves in every time they put out an exclusive. And I don't know that people talk about it enough. And they're making thousands and maybe in 2020, but nothing's selling out anymore. Like, unless they're running like 400 copies on a Marvel, nothing's really selling out anymore like it did in 2020. So the risk is higher, the reward is lower, I think there would be helpful to have more of an open dialogue, so that consumers understood all of those risks, because I don't think it's well known, or that people just don't appreciate that.
Let's see. Well, the retailers also have to do the research and hire artists that have solid followings that'll buy the books. They can't just be throwing anybody on the cover just because they think it's a pretty art or artist, or is their buddy. You got to make sure you got an artist that has a following. You got to make sure you have an artist. They will hustle and help you sell the book.
Our opinions is
wow.
Super. Well, I'm glad we were able to have, because last time we've had these retailers on the show, but we talked about art. We're more welcome to talk about that a little bit more. Brian's the only one that brings out the knowledge. I'm from the comic corner. I appreciate it. These other guys in the comment sections.
Through the gauntlet, you just pick up things, right, that you learn along the way. Because to William's point, I think that I've had to learn as a retailer that what I like and my taste does not always translate into a successful cover. right? That you need to sort of put your. It's like playing fantasy football with your feelings, or because you're a Charger fan, you just pick Chargers for your fantasy football because you love the Chargers. Like that's not going to work. Right. You need to be able to kind of look outside yourself, understand the market, understand what's selling, what's not selling, and kind of adapt and flow. Hey, listen, I like the Chargers. San Diego native.
You know, but you know what, Sean, we talked to Sean from Comics Elite, and he says he always says, know your market, right? And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that you guys have, a lot of covers that you guys have seen and going, God, that's god awful. I'm not gonna put that on my exclusive, right? I mean, but you kind of keep it in, but you yourself go, that's just no bueno. Next, what's your next? What else you got going on? Because you don't want to put out a shitty cover that everyone's gonna be like, what the hell is going on? You don't want to pull that Wolverine sketch that Romita, did, and everyone talking shit about it.
And you know what? And I want to talk about this too. That everybody have to do the research, right? They got to make sure they have the right artist. They have the right, because if an artist won't work with a retailer with a bad reputation. There's a lot of these retailers lately that have been coming out with, like Hotshot.com recently, right? They had an issue where they're taking the money from the customers, pretending to send books to CGC, and this isn't that. And then you have Anti-Hero Gallery not sending out their bundles and stuff like that. Hey guys, I know maybe I shouldn't say those retailers' names when I have y'all here because I know you all work with them, but that's just recent, right? Because you also have Frankie's who just went, didn't pay certain people, didn't give their comps to their artists. I mean, obviously you cannot always attack the retailers because it's not always their fault, because there's also artists that don't meet a deadline, and people are going to use AI. Oh, they're never going to miss deadline. Cool, they never are, but they're going to make it's just going to be to me, it's just going to be a pretty picture. You won't see any, you won't appreciate it as much, and you won't see the details that maybe an artist would. Like with you see David stuff, he only uses he doesn't use other colors, but when he uses the grays only, just to make an awesome picture with just grays, it's pretty hard itself. So I would always try to respect the artist more and have their back when it comes against AIs. I have friends who are retailers. I work for a couple of retailers, aka the Comic Corner. Great people or group of guys. I appreciate that. But me, I'm a consumer more and more, right? Y'all are retailers. For me as a consumer, y'all are right. The price point is good. The cover is awesome. The artist I know was I would rather support like a David or a Will or a Dale before I support any other person I don't even know. Even if the cover is awesome. Just because you building this connection, because you have artists will jump on a podcast who will say hi to their friends, to say hi to fans, stuff like that. It all depends on the artist. So research goes both ways, pretty much. So Brian, I wanted to say congratulations last year, Brian. That Star Wars was in the top 10, right?
Takashi, yeah.
And that was awesome. I was like, damn, man, they just starting out and they're already blowing up. So I wanted to say congratulations on that last year.
But I think, it's also, and all the other retailers in here, I hope I'm not alone. That we talk about that success, but there was 5 other projects that weren't that great ahead of that or after that. That those wins, come with losses. Not every exclusive is a hit. And when you're talking about the financial commitment to a Marvel project, it's going to take you, if that fails, it's going to take you 5 image projects to just sort of make up that loss. So they're
not all winners.
Yeah, they're not all winners. Like my fan. Yeah. So, our ASM, we thought it was a fantastic cover from Perel. I love the art. But it just didn't sell well. And then you just got to eat it. I've got a wall of boxes full of ASM 25s. If anybody wants any. But I think, yeah, it's just tough. And it's hard. It's hard to get. Not that you want sympathy from anybody or consumers, but I really think it's. It's a lot tougher than people think it is on this side of it. So some grace and some leniency and understanding what we do to try and the things, the effort that we put in as retailers to create, work with artists, and put out good products. It's a lot of stuff you don't see, that you're not aware of, and we do that because we love the community, we love collecting, we love putting out quality things, and I think I say that for all the retailers that are in the chat too, right? That there's a difference, and you can tell when a retailer actually cares about what they're doing and the people that they're selling to. You can see that.
I wonder, David, is there some things you just won't draw? Are there things?
Oh yeah, that's a good question actually.
Are there things you've turned down? Like, hey, David, I'd like for you to draw X, and you're like, no, man.
A picture of me, or maybe, who knows?
8 Billion Genies was one I turned down probably like 3 or 4 times the last issue.
Which one?
8 Billion Genies.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah, and I ended up doing it. Yeah, because it was definitely not my style of artwork. The realism factor I kept trying to implement with that one, but no, that was definitely one of the books that I had been asked to draw a couple times, and I just the
David,
person that
just don't say that word so loud in the comment section. Some of these retailers don't like that cover, or they had a bad experience with 8 Billion Genies. I'm not gonna say what happened, good fellas. I know.
Was it the subject matter, David, that it just wasn't for you, or what about the title?
It really wasn't the title itself. It was just the characters themselves. I mean, my style, I like trying to make something that like that look real. Was very difficult for me, and I honestly, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed it. After all, it was just at the time when being asked to draw it. Oh man, I think I remember him too, Jeremy. I think I remember.
You're making him blush, Jeremy. Look at that. You stopped him like, oh.
Yeah, you stopped mid tracks. Wow.
No, sorry. That was like the first time in Tennessee. So I think it was just the character overall. I mean, just the design concept and trying to come up with different things on my own. Like, there's no reference really, other than the whole like shape of what I was using. I was going off of the Zoltar Speaks machine from the movie Big, and so I had to look at. I mean, I swear I saw this machine everywhere I went. When I went to Vegas, it was there like at every corner. But they're just drawing the genie itself and looking at all the artwork that had been done for it. It was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be good for this. I don't know if I'll really do a good job at this. And I don't want to be a part of I don't want to do it and then it not do well for the retailer or anything like that. I mean, they're already giving me the opportunity, and I would just feel bad. So I will respectfully decline. And then after the 2 or 3 more phone calls I got, there was one buddy who had done Something Scale Children 16-4 and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Dark Blood. They were like, we're coming back, man. We want to do one more exclusive before we give it up and stop doing them. And I'm like, okay, well, what title? 8 Billion Genies. I was like,
son of a...
yeah. And then and I was like, well, what's the concept? And he had drawn a super like rough sketch of it on a napkin and gave it to me. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, man. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And it was definitely one of the things that I've tried to do. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain because it was such a raw like hate that I had for drawing that cover at the time. But when it was all said and done and I finished it, it really opened my eyes to different types of styles, and it was something that I really enjoyed trying to test myself and put out something that I thought was really good, and the end result was great. It did really well, and at least I think it did. I still have a handful of those books, but every time I show them off at a show, everybody just like trips. Oh my God, that's from Big. That's from Big. I love that movie. That's Zoltar.
That
was like,
is,
"Right."
Do you sell
I
them?
mean, that is, I just want to say that when you do an homage and you don't have to show the original or explain it, you've hit a home run. Like, because there's so many times that, like, you know it because it's your idea, but then
Right.
people are like, what is that? And you're like, well, shit.
And then I have to go into the whole explanation and the process, the
Yep.
tea that goes into it. But no, it was really it was really cool. The only reason why I really did not enjoy that drawing that was because I had to create the trade dress basically. I had to do the lettering, and I suck at lettering. I can't get the line straight. So I had to do a little bit of digital work on that side of it. And I don't really do too much digital work on my end, so I had to get the help of a colors friend of mine from Malaysia, and he pointed me to a buddy that does a lot of the writing for ads and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, let's check it out, see what he can do. And he did a phenomenal job. And I honestly, I didn't realize that when you create the letters for the cover, it's still technically a virgin. It's not a trade dress because it only came from. I didn't realize that at the time.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Correct
that
me if
either.
I'm wrong, Brian. I'm not too sure.
I've never, I don't know that I've ever made the, I guess I would have always thought of it as a trade dress.
Me too.
Wait. So you're saying if it has, say that again, David?
So if I have you know how like Zoltar Speaks, the machine has the writing at the top and then on the sides and then at the bottom. I create that font or draw that font based on what I think it would look like if it were in these letters. And then I present it and submit
that makes
it.
more sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. So it wasn't like a distinguished title up at the top of the
right.
It's incorporated into the art.
Right. And it was like, you don't see the image logo or anything like that. It's just what I see there.
It's still virgin.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I did not know that.
No, that's what I'm talking about right there. Like I've been doing this for just like the 4-year time frame, and I had no idea. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever had that done, so it's never come up for us. I did have a question, like sort of changing gears, sort of from a retailer to artist perspective, of what is it like when, or if you've ever had this experience of sort of you've come up with an idea, a concept, you've started on the work, and the retailer has wanted you to make some drastic changes to what you've started or created. Like, what are those conversations like? Do you appreciate the feedback, or have you had experiences where you feel like there's too much overreach and kind of stifling your creativity? Like, how do you manage that?
Well, usually what I like to do is I like to establish that communication in the beginning process or the beginning stages. Obviously, in the middle of developing, it does make it a little difficult, especially with the way I draw, because it is a dry medium, and essentially you're erasing what has been placed. So what do you do in that sense? You have to basically add on to it and correct it and meet that middleman or that middle compromise, basically. It is tough it does happen quite a bit. It has happened to me in my tenure, but it's been, there's a lot of give and take in that. And I think establishing that communication in the beginning, and sticking to it rather than veering off. Because I've done it too, where I've gone into a project and we've had a concept in place, and then I've drawn something because I had a vision or a feeling, and I thought this was the best way to go about it, and then it completely throws everything off. And I'm guilty of that. I've done that before, but it's always worked out. But just like William said, knowing how to draw really does play into that hugely, because you really, okay, you don't like this part, I've gone too far, but maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, I can doctor it up a little bit. And that's where the digital kind of aspect comes into play at that point, for me personally, because if I'm too far gone and I've scanned it and say, okay, this is an issue, well, I know now how to adjust it digitally to where I can draw it actually digitally and make it look like I were drawing it physically. And I've been able to do that and progressively gotten better at that over the course of my schedule. But it was, in the beginning, it was it was like, I don't think I want to change this up, man. I've already got too far. I can't erase this. It's just, are you sure? You want to, there's a lot of that, and that went on in early part of my career, and I'm not opposed to it at all. I mean, opinions change, vision changes. There's you have to be willing to make that compromise as an artist in some respect, but there are people that really do take it offended, like it's really offensive, and I don't really. It's an honor to be able to draw and do what we do for a living. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely, and you guys keep us busy, and that's the beauty about this relationship. So I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm definitely going to try to make sure but that's how I see it personally.
It just it just made me think, because we were working with somebody, a female artist recently, and we felt like her rear and her chest needed to be a little bit more prominent, and it was just like, how do I feel like part of me was like, if we were working with a male artist, it would be an easier conversation, but there's that sort of piece about this is somebody's creation and asking them to alter it, but then also like, this is a female and I'm asking her to accentuate the
female anatomy.
Yeah, so it was just I mean, she was awesome, super cool about it, but it was just like I even had to say it in sort of a joking way, so I felt more comfortable about it. So, but it was just it just made me think about like those conversations and how artists sort of receive, because I've never had that sort of back end conversation of like, what's it like for them receiving feedback or criticism or asking things to be changed.
I would also think that it's also based, and see, David, if you agree, that I think it's also based on that personality of that artist, right? And if that artist is sort of a hard ass, and they'll be like, no, it's perfectly fine the way it is. Right. What do you know, Brian? Right? You're not an artist. And it's like, hey, easy. I'm just saying, maybe you could add a little bit more this and that. No, it looks better like this. There's got to be that give and take. And like we talk about in the chat, communication is key in everything that we do. Everything, right? Business, no matter where you're working and whatever it is, with lack of communication, you have that David does one thing, and Brian, you didn't tell David that because you guys didn't talk. And then David's like, well, here it is. And Brian's like, that's not what we talked about. And David could say, well, you never said shit to me. Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh,
No, I've had that happen before. I just, that's why I'm saying establishing a relationship in the beginning, communicating, talking, joking, taking that time to really get to know one another, and then putting thoughts and creativity in that roundtable meeting on paper. You'll never have to really question anything or have to make those changes. Unfortunately, it does happen though, and it does cause a little bit of a delay, but not. The good thing is there's always the digital side of it. If you're familiar with that, it'll definitely save you a lot of time. I know I've used it several times, Procreate, to help complete covers at a quicker pace, just to make sure I'm either ahead or on point with deadline. And again, like you said, communication really does play a major role in that.
So as an artist, okay, it's a question for both of you, but it's switched up. David, is it easier to work with a retailer that gives you like free range to whatever you want to do and little communication or changes, or a retailer that will actually directs you to what they really want? And what after you answer it, Brian, your question is it easier to work with an artist where you're safe to be, whatever they draw, I know it's going to be hit, or is it better to have an artist that wants you to guide them to what you really want? So, David, you can answer that question first, and then Brian.
I personally, I mean, when a retailer reaches out and offers an opportunity to do whatever they want, however they want, you love those moments. I mean, because that means they trust you and they believe in you. And so there's a lot of give and take in that process as well. But I personally love that. And I've done some of my best covers that way. The Tupac cover was I got an email. Here's all the books that are available. Which one do you want to do? I said, Department of Truth. He's like, okay. I was like, what do you want me to draw? Whatever you want. Have at it. And I'm like, all right, here you go. This is what I got. So you find a lot of energy and a lot of motivation, a lot of love for the project, and all those nights that you're spending away from family and friends and stuff like that really don't hurt as bad. But I also love when a retailer reaches out with an opportunity and they have everything already that they want. They have an idea, they have a concept, they have a book, they have the motivation that you yourself have, and everything is out in front of you, and it just makes the whole process just perfect and seamless, because they believe in you enough to give you the opportunity. And it's like I said earlier, it's an honor to keep doing this and be able to do this. So it's awesome to be thought of and sought after for this project. But you know what? I want to make sure, because of that honor, I want to make sure that your vision comes to life. So let's talk about what that is.
Okay.
Brian?
Yeah, I was trying to think about our experiences. I know that at least recently we've been more prescriptive in the homage covers, because we really wanted to maintain fidelity to the original as much as possible. So slight tweaks. I mean, even to the point where I think it got a little contentious because we didn't catch it early, so it got to the next stage of her process. The hand was the wrong direction. How she was holding the knife, it was like this, and it's supposed to be like that. But we worked past that, and the changes were made. But I think through that process, we've used that artist now for 3 out of the 5 covers for World Tree. So number 5 we're doing with her, and we didn't do homage this time, and we just let her, we trusted her, said, hey, just go wild, have fun with it, and let's see what you come up with. And it's probably the best. I mean, the homages were great, but this is probably the best. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So I'm super excited, when we get a chance to reveal that. But I think it's that trust level, right? Like there's it ties back to that idea, like, okay, I'm on the hook for thousands of dollars here. And that sort of drives the anxiety of like really wanting to make sure that things are how they should be, or how you think they should be. But really being able to temper that with, but I'm not an artist, right? Like I have an idea of what I think will sell, but I think that's where it needs to stop. And I'm just like, this is the concept. This is what we think will do well. And just trust the artist to provide that, like take that idea to realization, and not be so involved in that process, because I think there is a chance that you sort of stymie that creative juice that's flowing in the artist. And I think the product you get at the end of that, while if it's from a great artist, it will still be good art, but it won't be great. It won't be what it could have been had you let them create.
Right.
Yeah, I think William mentioned it earlier. There might be some artists out there who need that push from you, Brian, right? From the Bryans and the other guys, of when they, for example, David, when you said, well, what do you want me to draw? And they said, you got carte blanche. And you're like, shit, yeah, I do, because I got tons of ideas. Then you have other guys who are like, what do you want me to draw, Brian?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, well, what do you want to see, Brian?
For me, that becomes scary too, because I think that, and Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that when you, as an artist, if you're offered a project and you get some source material and you don't find any sort of inspiration for that, it just might not be the right project for you, right? That you're just not. I want you to have some passion about what you're about to draw, and if you're really kind of left kind of flat and blank and not really having an idea, needing like 100% prescriptive concept and how it's drawn, how they're facing, how they're doing this, I just, to me, that would indicate that this might not be the best project for us to work together on.
Right. And that's why there's, like I was mentioning, 8 Billion Genies. I was just, me personally, I had no interest in doing it. I thought not that it was a bad book or a bad series, nothing against the title or anything. I just felt like I'm not feeling that creativeness or that I just don't feel that connection with it. So I respectfully am going to pass on that. But, just keep me in mind if there's something that you think I would be good at. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's out there, and we can go from there. But that was definitely one of those projects recently that I just, they had to provide me with everything for me to feel confident going into that project, to be able to successfully produce what their vision was, and it turned out really well.
I would love to see David do. David, I would love to see you do some of the monster side of some stuff. I would love for you to do a Werewolf by Night, even a Dracula, Swamp Thing. Just something like I could see you just kill it in your black and white. I could just envision it. Brian, work with this guy, man. What's going on with you?
I know we haven't. I think we've talked before about something, but we've never worked on a project together.
Well, I just gave you some ideas.
No, those are titles I would love to be a part of. I know there's a lot that goes into it. I've done one in my career, and I just hearing the process that goes into doing a retail exclusive for a DC or Marvel book. I just you have to, the artwork has to be just out of this world, and it really has to stand up for the 3,000 copies that you have to order.
We can neither confirm or deny that is the quantity we must order.
Nor deny. But it's there. I would love to get to that level. I'm all about the long game. I hope one day that happens. Brian, I would love to work with you. That would be awesome. I think, that's really where the end goal is for me, is to get to the point where I can work on those characters like Swamp Thing or Man Thing or Dracula or, Werewolf by Night, just to see what could happen, But, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So.
If it happens, you guys heard it first, because the love connection on this show, right, Dale?
This is where it all began.
Brian needs to leave. Like we wanted to do at least out before he does. I actually had a question for him. You just started with Cody. We didn't have the time yet. So what was the backstory? How did it start? Why did you want to open your own retailer shop? Hey, Brian, don't give me that face. I would need to know, man. People need to know. And so far the journey, has it been real hard to adapt, or you've been able to ask questions from friends to give you some pointers? How has that process been for you and Cody?
Wow. Okay, so working for comps is a good way to get that going. Cody's here in the chat. I collected comics a lot growing up. Big in the 90s, and I remember going to the shop and picking up Spawn 1 and like just getting excited to go to the shop to get the next issue every time it came out. You grow up and you sometimes just grow away from some of the things that you enjoyed or collecting, and life just gets in the way. And I went home to visit my parents maybe 2019 or 2020, and we were cleaning out either the garage or the shed in the back, and I found like 5 short boxes from when I was a teenager or growing up, and I just started thumbing through those again, and I got bit by the bug, and it was full bore, and it was more dangerous because now I actually have a good job and I make money and I can spend it, right? So it got dangerous, and then COVID happened, and then I discovered the waffle groups and like all of that side of and all of that stuff, and it's just sort of you meet people, you're in these groups and you're doing these things day in and day out, then you end up in chats or in admin chats, and then you start to develop these friendships and relationships with people, and the concept or idea of being on the other side of it, it sounded good at face value. It sounded like oh, this is going to be great. We're going to be retailers. Super awesome. Like, because then we'll get free books and it would just be great. And so I just sort of reached out to a couple people that had also expressed that sort of the same sentiment, Cody being one of them. And we just said, fuck it, let's do it. We had a third partner for a short period of time. The challenge for us is that we still are geographically separated, right? So I'm in New York, he's in Maine. When we had the third partner, he was in Tennessee. So how to manage a business from multiple locations, figuring out how to divide up sort of the labor and tasks, and where the physical shop would be, where everything is, everything is shipped and bagged and board and sent out. Then the online, the ordering process, and all of that. So I think it was 2021 we started, and we've just been sort of trucking along here, figuring it out as we go. It's definitely a learning experience. The easiest way to not make money in comics is to start a comic book shop at the beginning, right? I've, there've been more losses in comics than gains, but I think we get better every month that goes by. I think that like anything, you learn as you go. The mistakes that you made early on, you learn from and try to get better. Um, what is Cody saying? Oh, Jesus Christ! Drinking in the forest. See what happens.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So, but it's hard. I think I mentioned it before that we really wanted to create a retail business that honored the collectors in a way that sort of that we appreciate that side of it, understand what it's like to be on that side of it, to not take advantage, to not try and gouge, to not try and put people out or put out crappy product. Some of the stuff we did in the beginning that we thought was great, it wasn't that great. But we learn, we evolve, and we get better. We've seen the number of sales grow. We transitioned to Shopify, I think in January, and I think we had our 7,000th order like last week. So in 6 months we've really working on organically sort of growing the brand, and not trying to. I think it's easy in the retail landscape to try and compare yourselves to like the BTCs and TCM and these folks that you forget that they've been in business for a long time. Yeah. That they've cultivated and grown their clients for a while, and that we're not them. We want to get there, but it's going to take time, and not hold ourselves to that standard of sort of like we need to be able to do Marvel books every other week and have them at least get near selling out or selling out. But they have some things where they split amongst 6 different stores now, so it's much easier, less financial risk, less reward on the back end, but less financial risk, which in this market it says a lot, because this isn't 2020, this isn't 2021. So we started a business in the bubble, right, where GSX ones that at 6.5 are going for $8,000.
Yeah.
And then burst, and now they're like $2,000 books, right? Like it's so starting a business in that climate where you sort of have this unrealistic expectation of how consumers are going to react, how they're going to buy, what they're going to spend, how much they're going to spend, and that just deflates, right? So again, it's just about adapting, understanding the change in the environment and the landscape, and what can we do to offset that change and still be successful. And that's just sort of the philosophy of it. I think we just there you go, continue to move forward as best we can.
There you go. That attributes to something. There's probably many that started the same time as you guys did, and they no longer exist. So that means you guys are doing some shit right.
Or we just have bigger like debt accounts to keep us going.
That too, and it could be the beard as well.
It's not easy. Anybody that thinks like, oh, I could do this, it's super easy. I think at first when you have like 5 customers and you get the order and you ship it out the next day, it's no big deal. But right now we've moved the physical location for processing and shipping to New York, and it's just me. So every week I'm bagging and boarding 2,000 books, collecting orders, doing the pull boxes, doing all of that. And Cody was doing that by himself in Maine for a year and a half. So it's a lot for one person to do, but Cody's dead.
Well, it does now explains why he walks around shirtless, because it's always
He's free now.
He's free. He's free. But
He's
Brian,
free.
hire someone, you cheap bastard. I mean, you need someone to help you box some stuff up.
So it's that weird space where you're busy enough that I was talking to Brian Murphy about this today. You're busy enough that you need somebody, but not profitable enough to where you really can sustain full-time employment for somebody, right? All that you're making to fill, to have some, going in the black, would all go to a staff member. And so I think we're close.
Hire some kid. Hire some snot-nosed punk.
I need to find somebody.
Yeah.
Why gotta be snot-nosed punk?
Because the snot-nosed punks will do it for Burger King. It's perfectly fine.
And I think Cody, I don't know if Cody would agree, but sometimes I can be a little bit, I don't want to say controlling, but it's hard for me to trust that somebody is going to take the same care that I would with
repetition is what
the books, right? I need to be able to trust that if I leave you here, that the books that do get bagged and boarded aren't damaged, and that the package you sent out are packaged right, and all of that stuff. And
a little micromanaging. Brian will be like, I'm gonna go over all your work.
I mean, because how many times have you got a package from eBay or somewhere, and you're like, what the actual fuck? How did they what is happening here?
That's a whole different topic,
right?
That's a whole different topic.
And if there's 50 options to buy comics in the online space, and you have a bad experience, it's way too easy for them to just move on to the next one and not risk it.
Yeah, and then if one of those comments go viral and you have,
that's right,
it can go easy. It can go either way. But I wanted Cesar. Like I said earlier, I work for Cody. I promote it, and I do this for him on the side. We talked about it. He gave me the opportunity. I'm glad, because I get to show off cool books, and if people think that I'm part of it, I'm part of it, but I didn't do shit with it. I was no idea, no nothing. I'm just gonna buy this book, great book. That's it. That's all I do. But it's been fun. We have a core group of guys, so people know, like, oh, y'all just. What is it? They ask me when I share the comic book group, right? The big group, and like, man, what you get something out of it, because I always see you sharing. Yeah, I do. That's why I'm doing it. Why am I gonna hide about it? I do that. That's what I've always been known for, as a person who shares, who promotes, and does other stuff. That's why I'm a podcaster now. It's because I want to talk a lot more. And I don't like my voice, though. But I just like to be on the show.
I think it's important, though, that to recognize that we wouldn't ask that from anybody. Right, that we respect you and what you do and how you do it enough to be okay with you being associated with our brand, right? We wouldn't do that with just anybody. And I think it's important that we compensate, or we provide that appreciation for the work that you are doing in a way that's more than just, hey, thanks for sharing that out, right? That your work is translating to sales for us, that it's only right that you're sort of compensated for those sales that come in because of the work that you did.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that many people don't know, and this is an exclusive, Brian actually built this business on all the money he took of me from starting all those waffles.
So
you're very welcome.
Cesar is a silent partner, and he funded the entire operation.
And he's not bullshitting. Because he took a lot of my money, you son of a bitch.
I'm pretty sure that I've helped a couple people start businesses.
That is true, man. God, I've known Brian for a long time, actually. Now I think about it, Brian, when we started this whole thing.
Yeah.
Pre-2020. So it is funny the way the market, and David, this kind of goes to you too. Has your work, have you gotten more work because of the market's been low, high, and Brian, have you seen your sales steady or kind of dip a little because of what's going on with the market?
For me personally, it's not been as consistent as it was back when I first started doing this. It has slowed down, but luckily there's things to keep you as an artist distracted from that, and there's doing your own projects, doing your sketches, doing things that really just keep you from letting the thought of not being able to do another exclusive or do another cover, it doesn't weigh on you as heavily. And I still get opportunities. I'm a little bit more selective now with what I work on. But I get more joy doing a lot of the sketches that I've done, like on blanks and stuff like that, as a personal achievement. But yeah, I mean, it'd be great to get a phone call about like a DC or Marvel or just but they don't happen all the time. But there's definitely been a significant drop in those opportunities. But I think if you take this time as an opportunity to work at yourself and your craft and get better at what you're doing, then those opportunities will come for you. And as long as I continue to do what I have to do, and that is get better as an artist and put out great work, then you never really have to worry about if the market's going to go down or up. There's still going to be opportunities for you. Maybe not from a retailer perspective, but from your following and the people that you've gained over the course of your career. So,
yeah. What about you, Brian, on that side of things?
Yeah, the environment has definitely changed. I think pre-COVID and during COVID, exclusives were just running wild. It didn't matter if it was a key issue, that the extra income or money that people had caused giant spikes in secondary market values for non-key books, just based on some art, and it didn't have to be great art. And it's really turned into a space, I think, where if it is not a key book, it has to be the art has to be like, it has to be a straight cover buy. Like, people are like, that cover is badass, I need that on my wall or in my collection. There's no real in between anymore.
Right.
And I think you see that also in I don't know that you'd ever see a trade only exclusive from a Marvel book that's limited to 400 in 2020. That's not happening. It's 1,500 trades, 1,000 versions, $49.99 or $39.99 a set, and they're selling out. So everybody's sort of had to evolve and change how they're offering, what they're offering, reducing or mitigating financial risk as much as possible where you can. But you have to, if you stop doing exclusives, you sort of then fall out of the light, right? That people kind of forget about you and what you're doing. We've been fortunate enough to have cultivated a good pull box customer base. So we have, probably 30, 40 people that have their regular pulls with us through previews. And then we have another 15 or so over the last couple months that have started utilizing the website for FOC orders every week. So those things kind of keep things moving, keep the lights on, and generating some revenue. But we're really trying to be more thoughtful in the projects that we do take on for exclusives, and more thoughtful about what we're doing with that exclusive. We just I won't reveal anything other than we just signed on one of our favorite artists to do a 4-issue run on a Marvel title. So we're super pumped about that. But it's it's just really being deliberate in what you're choosing. And we did things in being creative. So the Corner Club VIP subscription, we're not making hardly any money on it. But we wanted to create a subscription where there was great value, provided a free exclusive that's limited to the 50 spots. So there's 50 spots in the Corner Club. That exclusive every month that's going to be put out is limited to 50. There will only be 50 ever distributed, and the only way to get it is be part of the subscriber group. And we do a giveaway that, like last month for this month for June, we gave away ASM 316 9.8. Right, so the value we wanted to provide great value, and it sort of generates enough to pay for itself, but also keeping people engaged in us and our products and our brand. I see other subscriptions and Patreons out there where it's $100 a month, and you have to pay $100 for the book or $50 for the book, like all of these extra things, which we didn't want to turn the VIP subscription service into a major revenue center.
Mm-hmm.
The goal was really kind of really bringing in those folks that are engaged with us, and appreciate what we're doing and the value, and sort of give back for that.
All right. Well, there you go, people. Dale, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed that. Dang. But anyways, so switch it up a bit. I'm going to switch it up a bit because we've been talking a lot of good information here. But is this, now that we've talked about information from both of y'all, do y'all have time to collect books? And what are you looking for? Do you go to regular LCS shops? Do you go garage selling? Do you go to riches shops? What do you all do? If you do go shopping like like a regular person, because I'm pretty sure Brian, you're so busy doing this your other job, and then this, David as well. So do y'all ever have time to do that?
Yeah.
Do you want
to? No, go ahead, David.
Well, for me, I collect blanks. That's my big thing. I try to go out and get as many as I can, as often as I can, and that's really the only time I have shopping wise, or my experience at collecting.
Only blank I have.
So I have, probably because I also am a part-time employee at Pastime Comics. They did that book, and they have a crap ton of those blanks when they came out. But that's usually what I'm into right now these days, is just the blanks. And then I like those super hard to find blanks, like the Purple Hulk, or something just that stands out. But that's all I collect these days.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for my personal. And it's not even for the purpose of a commission or anything like that. It's just I want to try. This is about as close as I'm gonna get to a Marvel book right now. Let me cover them. Let me do what I want to do.
He wants to be the next. He wants to be the next Ryan Kincaid. There, Cal. That fool has every single blank known to man.
Oh, I can only dream of having his collection. I just want to at least have enough inventory for my own personal use.
What about you, Brian? You still chasing a grail out there?
No. Do I want to be? Yes. Am I able to as much as I want to? No. I mean, I have like a search filter and a few of them for like Facebook Marketplace. I get the alerts, so once in a while I try to scroll through. But I have found over the last couple of years that anytime I buy something for myself, it ends up getting put into shop inventory, and part of a mystery box or something of that nature. Which is fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all the same. But it's I have my core books that I will never part with. But some of the stuff just right, like if the opportunity comes up and we need it for the shop, and the good news about comics is there's no shortage.
Yeah, another one.
But I mean, right now is the time to buy. If you're looking for things and you want to buy, now is the time.
Now is the time. I've been preaching that beyond, especially DC stuff.
Yeah,
DC's always been undervalued.
Yes,
and very undervalued keys. But now everything is if you want to build a collection of keys, now is the way to go. Because people are taking offers.
Yeah.
I've had that book sit there for whatever, and then you go in and going, "Hey, I'll give you $600 for it," and it's like a $900 book. They're like, sold.
Yeah, and I mean that's the market. It's definitely a buyer's market. And a lot of people are struggling with I paid 10, not 10 times, is exaggeration, 3 times current value a year and a half ago, and those losses are real. And some folks just don't have the either patience or finances to wait out the dip. So they're going to try and move them. But to the original question, I really I make sure that if we're traveling, that I always look up shops in the area that we're going to be traveling to, and try to go in and kind of browse through their their back stock and see what they have going on and things like that.
Yeah, because they don't price them all. We already talked about that on this show.
But the reason I'm bringing it up because I had my story today where I thought I wasn't going to be rich for like 10 seconds. So you know, I went at a vintage shop and I'm going. There's a lot of cool stuff. I posted it up, right? Some pictures, real cool shit. And then we go to the back to the because the back says it's a music shop. So you see CDs, cassettes, vinyls everywhere. And then my wife goes, "Hey, there's 11 lock boxes over there." My God, she knows what it is, right? What's up, Steph? And all right, right. Let me see. I see a lot of old fucking books. I'm I'm there like in the going. Okay, like $5, $10 books, $5, $10 books, $5, $10 books. Um, later, Cody. Um, I'm going and going and going and going. And number three stream in Butt, Montana. I moved already. Fuck you. Damn, he's always making fun of me. And I'm okay. I'm like, okay, there's your old school Harvey comics. There's old Archie, you know, number one of Pebbles and Bam Bam. I'm like, all right, I know some of these books. My daughter goes, Dad, there's still a book over here. I'm like, oh, I kind of ignored her at first, and then I looked over. I'm like, what is it? Let me see it. She gives it to me, right? It's an Action Comics #1. And I'm
this
over,
guy.
dude. Honestly, and I was live. I was fucking live, and I'm asking people, please tell me, guys, tell me, is this a reprint? Is this a reprint? And to the point where I had to hang up. I called the group chat, right? Because I need somebody to. First, I called Cash. He's another great friend of mine. He would know. He didn't answer. I called another group chat, like, hey, please let me know. Because I'm still learning. I've never in my life seen an Action Comics #1 in person, not even a reprint. So I talked to Nick, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, that's a reprint." Fuck, I kind of knew, but I was like, in the off chance that it's like a legit fucking Action Comics #1, I'm fucking set. You know what I mean? Not being set for life, but I'm good. I can.
Well, you might have been. you
Yeah,
might have
like
been set for life.
You know what? I mean, I there's a good chance that a $2.5 million book would just be like, and your son's like, hey, look at that.
dude, I mean, that would have been a fairy tale story. I would have bought her McDonald's the next day. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I mean,
the owner would have hung himself. Let's put it that way.
it was an old timer. Then I bought two, because my daughter was recording for me, so I bought her some books. She wanted some Archie stuff, so I bought them for her, like $3.25 each. It's whatever. But for that, like, because look, the thing is, the reason I was excited is because last year I found a Batman Adventures #12 for $4 at a garage sale. That was my hit right for last year. See, Jesse was there live. Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I remember. She couldn't see the comments, so I thought I hit again, bro. I thought, oh, I was like, whoof, and then whoof, like real quick. Like I was up and down. Like it was the best, worst feeling in the world.
Dale pulled a Brian because he had it, and he was so excited, and then he sold it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
then he right away has instant regret for selling it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. Like you see those stories, right? I've never been fortunate enough to have one of those experiences where you buy a box from somebody, or you're thumbing through somewhere and you come across some like just massive key. One day, I mean, you buy enough collections or you do enough scouring, it'll happen. But I mean, some of the stuff you see is just crazy. Like that, it's almost unbelievable.
It's a little too unbelievable, right? It's the old I was dumpster diving and I saw a long box. Someone threw in there of a bunch of old stuff, and I found a Batman 37, or a Detective Comics. That shit doesn't happen, but apparently it does happen.
Yeah,
it does. People have posted, yeah. And the thing is, I was live. It would have been real fucking cool if I hit something while I was
really
live.
Fucking funny.
It was, dude. And I look at the comment section afterwards. I'm like, reprint. I'm like, oh well, now I know. It was a very exciting day. I mean, I honestly, since I moved down here, this is the first vintage shop, thrift shop that's actually had long boxes in the back. So I was like, all right, let's do this. I mean, I was pumped and shit, and just bought a incredible 1% in a box for other garbage books. What? That's crazy. Congrats on that pickup.
Yeah, congrats.
Definitely.
Hey, but you have your show coming up, don't you, David?
What's
Are
that?
you pumped up for your con this weekend? Are you pumped up for that?
For Fan Expo Denver? Yeah, I mean, like I've been applying to be a pro creator with Fan Expo since I started, and I apply every year. I never get a call or an email, and this year was just like a complete roller coaster because I got the email, and it was about Fan Expo Philly, and and then all of a sudden the next day, oh, guess what? You're going to Denver too, and then I'm like, cool, so. I was really excited. It's a privilege. I mean, it's a very competitive process, and for them to see you and give you that opportunity to be a pro creator there, especially next to who's going to be there. I mean, Jim Lee, John Boy, Mark Silvestri, all these people that are going to be there. I mean, yeah, it's pretty intimidating. Like Philly, I sat next to Scott Hanna and talked with him the entire weekend. I mean, he and I were drawing together. Like it was like, who gets the chance to do that?
Real that match.
Right? And he's over there over my shoulder while I'm drawing, and he can get through 13 sketches in 5 to 10 minutes. I'm over here working on the same sketch all weekend, and Jesse was there too with me, and he's sitting over there just hovering over my shoulder, looking at what I'm drawing. He's like, "You messed up right here, right there. You messed up right there," and I'm like, "Well, teach me, man. Take me to school." He's like, "Do this," and I'm like, "Okay, I did that." And then, sure enough, dude, like my whole drawing was just completely just awakened.
Changed.
It was finished. I mean, just having somebody like that hang out with you next to you the whole weekend. I mean, it was amazing.
Stuff like that's priceless.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot buy back those moments. You have to enjoy them as they come. And so for Fan Expo to see that in me and give me the opportunity to be there, it's a huge privilege and a huge honor. I mean, I've been excited. That's all I've been talking about with my friends and family since I started. I mean, it's dude, I got into Fan Expo is this and that, but it was just good to get a W this year. Finally, after trying.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting this hulk of a man.
Dude, Mexicans don't grow that high usually, and this is one of the unnatural ones.
Well, yeah, between him, I'm 6'1", so I'm not Dell size.
6'1" isn't that crazy?
Yeah, coming from the guy who's 5'4",
how about grow a beard? How about you to grow that?
I shaved today. It was like David's. It was down to here.
You damn liar! You can't grow anything.
I should have too. You just can't tell. So.
You just
see. I want one like Brian though, because Brian his is nice and high and tight. And the funny thing is, I think it's one big piece. I think it all comes off.
It's glued on the whole
because it's like all the same. It's perfect. It's like here and there. You just take it off. David is like a floating head.
I have
he's all black.
Had aspirations to grow it out like David's, but it gets to that. It's the same thing that happened with my hair in high school. Like I wanted long hair. But it gets to that stage that's just completely unruly, and I can't do it anymore. So I shave it and I cut my hair. Like it's just I can't get past that stage. Plus, I'm not disciplined enough to take care of it with the beard oils and all of that stuff.
I don't think David actually has hair because every time I see David, he always wears a hat.
I mean, I have a little bit of hair, just not
look at this guy. That's what David looks like. Wow.
You see it in David first, folks.
David, just be careful if Cesar asks you to take off your shirt. I don't know you have hair there neither.
Get this motherfucker. Hey, David, just make sure you wear a hat on Saturday because if you don't wear that, I'm not gonna go. I can't see David.
Yeah, exactly. No, I try not to. I don't know. The hat's always been the thing. It's kind of like the identifier for me. So I don't know. But the beard apparently gets a lot of attention, and I'm 34, but I look like I'm 50 with all this gray. So it's getting up there.
Well, it still feels good. I'm the oldest one out of here. So.
And it's crazy that I'm only a year older than David.
I think I'm older than Brian.
Huh?
How
old are you?
I'm 50. I just turned 51.
Oh, you are.
Brian's like, nah.
I mean, I don't get to say that often in this community. Like,
well, I know because trust me, I'm the old guy of the community, but there's a guy a lot older than we are.
Just he's 34.
That is true. He does look like 34.
Yeah, I've had. Unfortunately, I mean, there's more salt than pepper, but it started changing when I was like 28. So
yeah. One of the early ones, huh?
yeah,
Let me
unfortunately.
see. Actually, I don't think I have that much grade compared to David though.
No, it's because David's longer.
Yeah, his is
Yeah.
much more. His is much more luxurious.
David's like the Mexican. He's like the Mexican Viking.
Yeah.
I should have shaved. Fuck.
Mexican Thor on the weekends.
Mexican Thor.
On the weekends, just not at shows.
Hey, David, if I ever do meet you, David, I wear my boots, but you gotta wear chunkless.
Well, if you take the invitation that they gave you to go to Las Vegas and actually go, you know,
David's like, I let that down, has he?
no,
the
we all
thing
were
is,
happy about it. We were excited. I was like, dude, Dale's gonna do it. Yeah.
Chris reached out and he's like, yeah, but the thing is, I just moved down here, right? So
All right.
I'm getting my financial things back in order. I'm selling books here and there. So I wish, and honestly, it wasn't that expensive to go. There was like $75 to get a plane to go and come back. And like, I don't have a place to stay.
Where do you go? Shit, I want to go there. Golly.
I should have gone, but I'm not gonna. David, stop doing that shit, David. Gosh.
There's another one. There's plenty more. You know, that'll be another show.
Brian, where's your next show?
New York. We've got.
That's a big one, right? That's a big one. Right?
Yeah, New York's our next one. We've got our booth secured. We've got a bundle exclusive that's 5 issues of something. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other exclusives already slotted, ready to go.
Hey, Cowtown, that's in North Texas, right, David?
Yeah, it's Fort Worth.
I already passed, didn't it?
No, it's coming up, I think, in August.
Oh, there you go, Dale.
Yeah.
When in August? My son's birthday's in August, and I can make it a birthday trip.
You might have to look. I can't exactly recall the date, but I know it is in August. I think it's in the middle of August. If I'm not mistaken.
Fort Worth in September.
Oh, September. I'm sorry.
And then Cash is over there in Plano. And then you're in Dallas. Ariel's in Dallas. There's a lot of great people there right now. It wasn't. And then you got Murat in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ariel Diaz.
Yeah.
We have her working on something for us.
Well, we have her next weekend.
We have our show next weekend. Yeah.
Oh,
we met her twice, so it's been. Oh yeah, next week, not weekend. End of September 30th, October 1st. I'll reach out to Chris.
You know
what's up with that.
How many people are on the stream right now, Dale?
10. It just went down right now.
I'd be she's we'll just say if you like Ariel Diaz and you like Zatanna,
you
may want to stay tuned.
And she'll be there in Denver also.
Yeah, she'll be in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Dallas too.
I'm gonna have her send my Apollo's Eve.
Dude, y'all are like.
You
we're
know,
supposed to go on vacation at the middle of July because my mom and everybody's going on vacation. So we want to go to like San Antonio and just stay there for the weekend because I have yearly tickets for Six Flags, not Six Flags, SeaWorld. So I'm like, I have it. It's like $50 a night to stay in San Antonio. We were gonna go, but I might have to push it to, Oh, my wife was on here earlier, so I gotta stay quiet. Yeah, I have breakfast with David like once a month. What?
Yeah, we usually have either breakfast or lunch once a month at Old West Cafe over here.
Well, I mean, I should go to breakfast with Brian because he already has salt and pepper with him every single time he comes.
Oh, that's stupid.
That's stupid. Cesar, nobody wanted to see your ass. Cesar, this guy.
Oh, you can see my ass? Oh, damn it.
Whatever you got.
You know what? I don't have an ass. You know what? I was looking for a book. I was going through my 90s stuff, and I'm going and I, whatever, and I see a, not a brigade, but it's one of those 90s, and I noticed Murat's name on there. I'm like, huh? He actually worked on this? And sure enough, Murat Michaels did the cover on the 90s. I can't find it, but
he didn't start with poo. I'll tell you that much.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of funny.
90s embossed foil is the gateway drug to poo.
Hey, David, do you have a poo cover out there?
I don't.
Is that a book that you don't want to work on, or would you be cool with opening?
David's like,
No, I love the whole stories. It's really the same story for every book, but I love the colors and the creativity behind it. I thought it was like 8 Billion Genies with me. I don't feel like I would do a good job at that. I really think I would do. Honestly, 8 Billion Genies was. I keep going back to that, but that was just one of those covers, man. That just really
emotionally scarred.
Yeah. So I mean, no, I've been asked to do one a couple of times. I just try to.
Battlestone.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Marat. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I opened it up and yeah, he did the art. So Battlestone. There you go.
Is that like a knockoff Brigade? It looks like Brigade.
Who knows? They were knocking everything off in the fucking 90s.
Covers that. Me too. I actually found out the same story over and over. I was like, I thought it was like a different story. Is that a Liefeld book?
I'm hoping to have Garrett, because Garrett Gunn's going to be there. I want him to sign, at least sign this good boy that I got.
Oh, Garrett's going to be there? Awesome.
Yeah. He's
Thank me for it. But I had another question. Not before we get off. With Marvel not being at San Diego Comic-Con this year, do you think New York Comic-Con would be the con of the year this year? And David and Brian can answer whichever one goes.
No.
I mean, I'm just gonna say yes because that's where we'll be.
Not biased at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to go to. I haven't been to San Diego Comic-Con in a long time, so I don't know what it's like. What I have noticed in going to shows over the last couple years is it seems like there's been this sort of shift away from books and more about like products and anime and things of that nature. So it just makes me apprehensive if like comic is not in the title, that the bulk of the attendees are not really there for comics or chicken wings.
Culinary comic. I'm sorry, I've been eating throughout the whole show.
The whole time, this guy's been stuffing his face.
I've been
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I don't know that Marvel. I'm just trying to think. Marvel was at New York last year, and they had the Peach Carnage, or that was the exclusive. But I don't know that they were. I don't know that they enhanced the show any more than anyone else that was there, right? So I don't know if it's that big of a loss to San Diego Comic-Con for them not going. But I think it's important to think about why is that? Like what is going on in the background that prevented them from not going, from going this year?
And they are pushing a lot of these movies and shows back. And they pushed Deadpool closer and the other more back. So that's another thing.
Right. The panels, I mean, what are they going to ask in the panels? Why'd you guys push it to 2024? Why'd you push it to 2025? Why'd you push it to all the Star Wars movies have been pushed to 2026, just about. All the Marvel stuff other than 2025. So I guess they really don't have, plus they don't want to be asked about Jonathan Majors' drama that's going on with Kang, right? I mean, that's still up in the air. It sounds like it might be resolved because there's a lot of, I was reading some of it. It's getting goofy. That Jonathan Majors thing is getting, now they're talking about police were profiling and all that. It's like, oh God, man, Marvel might be like, you know what, man, we'll just hire someone else.
Dude, I'm watching Will's profile picture, and it's a oatmeal cookie cream. I actually want one of those right now. I'm hungry. Honestly, I came from another town, and then I went to go do laundry, and it came straight over here. So I haven't had the chance to sit down and eat. And damn, I'm getting hungry.
Listen,
little Debbie be cooking up some shit. I mean,
Bro, there's a reason why I'm this big, right?
It is called the comic menu, people, because at one point, one way or another, on this podcast, we always sneak in fucking food or drinks or something all the time. It always happens. Last time we talked about tacos and what kind of tacos and how do you cook your barbecue and.
Oh yeah, that was a good talk too. And you know what, David? This is cilantro wings.
There you go.
Dude, they hit different. No, fuck you, Brandon. We're not gonna know more. Hey, David, you down for a one chip challenge?
Oh man, sure.
No, you're not.
No,
you're not. Don't say that because this shit's recorded, dude. You don't want to say that.
No,
there's nothing other than the chip. Then yeah,
fuck.
No, fuck that. I wouldn't allow you, David. Sorry.
You should get two artists to do the one chip challenge
and draw.
Holy shit! Oh, okay. Look, we're gonna have Brandon in August. We should do. I don't know. We should.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea. All right, so we know David's in because he's gonna.
Oh, Cesar all of a sudden is fucking in on this shit now.
Well, because you know what, Brian? I mean, that's a great idea.
Oh, there we go.
And burn your ass
the
off.
Sweat and the tears that are going to be all over the paper.
Oh, and then we charity. Offer charity.
Yep. Charity. We're doing a charity event with that. John's on there. David's on there. You down for next month, David?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Brandon, we'll talk. We'll send the information.
Okay.
You gotta do the same thing as last time. Oh my God.
That's not a good idea, David. I swear. David, I'm gonna talk to you Saturday. We're gonna sit down and I'm gonna coach you. I'm gonna be like behind you like Mickey. You know? That's what I would be like. Get up, you son of a bitch.
Okay, look, I got this. Yeah, we are gonna do charity, but Brandon's gonna be one providing the chips. He has a con coming up in September. We will donate those pieces to his event so they can be auctioned off for that. How about that? You know, what I mean? we got to set up. Well, that'll be fun because we were doing 2 charity events next month. August will be the third one, and then September I want to do at least 1 charity event a month. So that's gonna be awesome. Now we have a 1 chip challenge charity event. This will be our first one.
Hey, Del, wasn't there someone else, another artist we had on there? Like, fuck it, I'll do it.
No, Murphy is the publisher for Murph Publishing.
No, there was somebody else who recently like, I have no problem doing it.
I think it's Ariel. I'm not even mistaken.
Oh, it might have been Ariel. Now that would.
Mine is John. You said you got to do it, brother. October, and then he said provide Korean barbecue and David will draw all night. Whoa, what happened here?
Is that your crutch, David?
We went to we were at Philly in Philadelphia. We went to Chinatown, and in downtown everything closes at like a certain hour. It's like 6 o'clock or something like that, and it's usually not very easy to find good food, or at least a open restaurant. So we're walking, it's boiling hot, and we're just looking, and then Jesse finds this place on the second floor with tables and chairs, people pressed up against the window, like sitting there eating. I'm like, that looks cool. What's this place? Is that Korean food? Dude, I've never had before. Let's try it. Man, we went there twice the entire weekend. I splurged. Like, we got hot pots. We got these tablita looking, they look like a strip, I don't know, carnitas or I forgot what it has a bone in it. I can't remember what they're called.
Like spare ribs? Like the spare ribs?
Yeah, spare ribs essentially, but it has little chunks of circular bones going.
Oh yes,
yeah.
But I mean, it's basically. I think he said it was Korean candy, short ribs. Yeah,
short ribs. There you go.
Korean candy, basically, because it like you eat one. As soon as you eat one, dude, you don't want to put it down. Like it's marinated in this soy kind of candy caramelized.
It's crack. It's crack.
Yeah, basically.
Is it Kalbi?
Oxtail.
Kalbi.
Kalbi. Kalbi.
Kalbi, yeah. Yeah. I think,
well, I'll tell you what, the chip will not taste like that.
No, I know.
No, it's gonna taste like cardboard and ass. I'm just telling you.
Neither of those are good by themselves. No. I can't imagine it improves them putting them together.
And Brian, you're gonna get credit. By the way, Dan, we gotta make sure we give when we do this, we're gonna give Brian from the Comic Corner credit for this for David for blowing his asshole out. So this is gonna happen to you, David. You're gonna blow your ass out. I 100% don't have spoiled milk like Dell. Dell drank spoiled milk that night. He didn't know until he had put it in his gullet and he found out it was spoiled. I had milk and then I saw my ancestors from the past. That's how fucking that I saw my dead ancestors. I said it right there. I go, I saw my dead like great uncles and grandparents. So you're in for a treat. Don't wear glasses because you're gonna sweat. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'll bring napkins and towels and.
I don't know, Dale. He doesn't know what he's getting into, dude. He doesn't know.
The thing is, everybody's pain tolerance is different.
That is true.
Yours was kind of light.
I didn't last 2 minutes. I died 4 times and came back.
So I'm gonna start an over/under in the chat and just start taking bets.
There we go. Man. He's provided chips and he was supplying spawn 1 blanks if needed. Wanted. So
you know what? I would love for you to do actually, David. I would love for you to do a swamp thing. Right, that when you do your sketches, that would be your good time to.
I was actually thinking either spawn or swamp thing while I eat or after I've eaten that chip and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, because it's a typical swamp ass.
I can send you some blanks, guys, if you need them.
You get swamp ass. Yeah, swamp thing for your swamp ass. That's funny.
It's like the wish version of swamp thing.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get as wish.
Great value.
No, the thing is, if it's on a blank, right? He says it's CBCS. You're gonna see all those stains from your sweat. There could be as remarks. Special remarks.
Yeah, those are. That's called your signature.
Yeah,
right. That's your signature.
This ought to be good. All right.
DNA on this.
It'll be encapsulated, so in 2052 we can clone you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Dale. Maybe.
Why would anybody call me? But
if there's any other artists who want to join in this particular one, because I don't think there's gonna be that many. You're gonna be more than happy to jump in and make it a 3-person artist thing or 4, but
it'd be fun. I think it'd be cool just to see
the future, David. You want to see the future?
Jesse's right. Jesse's right. We'll have to do at least get the preliminary sketch in before you eat the chip. So you start out. It'll be easier to actually do.
That's a good one, Jesse.
So get like 20-30% of it started.
Sure, why not?
Finish the rest.
And then the rest will be all scribbles from you dry heaving.
I think it'd be fun. I don't know.
Oh, it's gonna be fun for us laughing because when we did it, when me and the other guy, me and Brandon, who's in here, the chat was going insane. People were saying, and we had so many people in here who. I mean, Ryan Kincaid, I think he said you got to drink piss. I mean, the chat was like, drink monkey piss. You should drink this, eat that. And it was like,
and all that stuff.
Oh, it might help you take off. It might help take your mind off the heat. Yeah. Who knows? Wow. We'll see. But what that means, I can't believe it's a show ended with another scheduled show for
Hey, Dale, you want to join in on this? Well, I'd say he works in the medical field, so he's too smart to know not to.
I don't want to do this shit again.
No, not you. I said Dale.
I know, and I think I have to put the fucking thing on.
As a matter of fact, Dale was one of the guys who's like, because they tell you on the package if you have
no.
if package says if you have like heart, I mean, it has taken people to the hospital. So Dale's like, no, it's okay, man. I'm all right.
Yeah, Murphy had to go to the hospital because her stomach was all fucked up.
I am sorry I suggested this now.
You're in for it now.
Responsible for the death of 2 prominent artists.
Man,
that's a future David problem right there.
Oh man, that would be a horrible way to go.
No, it's not gonna happen. Knock on wood, though.
I know. But John's doing it, Dale. He's in.
David, real quick, plug in what you got to plug in, what you're coming up, and where they can see you or how they can contact you for commissions and stuff.
Right now, my for everything is at D Sanchez Artist. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I have attending Fan Expo Denver here this weekend, starting Friday through Sunday. I'll be at Pro 51 right next to Lauren Wright, and a couple tables away from John Boy Myers. Be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I was offering up a Punisher sketch OA at the, for the show, but apparently it sold before it could even make the table.
That's a good. That's a good problem.
I will have prints, books. I will be doing quick sketches, remarks, maybe a full-fledged commission. We'll see, depending on how my schedule looks at the time. And but yeah, a lot of good thing. If you haven't supported the Kickstarter, join the Ferryman Valhalla Kickstarter. I have a cover on there, as well as my own little card for the cover. And yeah, thank you guys for having me on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to keep it PG-13 today because last time, man, it got ridiculous. Brian, you as well promote. I know I promote for you, but this time you promote yourself.
I just first thank you guys for the opportunity to come on. I'm really not a big I don't know this type of thing, but I had a good time. It was nice chatting, getting to talk with you again in this sort of environment, and just sort of, I think it was good, like being able to engage, with the chat, and let the conversation sort of shifted with comments that were coming in. So it was a really great experience, and that I think is a testament to you all and the show that you run and the environment that you've created. So thank you for having me. In terms of promotion, I mean, just we are the Comic Corner, www.thecomiccornerstore.com. Check us out. If you ever don't see something on the site that should be on the site, that's FOC, that's missing, if you ever want bundles, 5-packs, anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out. We make them, put them on the site for people all the time. So we want to make sure we understand there's, general collectors, and then there's just,
resellers,
and then there's people that speculate. So we don't hate on any branch of that sort of the tree of collecting. So whatever your fancy is, we're happy to do what we can to provide the best value we can when we can. So feel free to reach out.
Brian, do you still sell those timeless bundles? Or are you out?
We are out. I have singles of most of them.
Okay.
But I actually had to buy some vultures from eBay to fill the last couple orders because
okay, all right.
There was some damages on some of the issues, so we lost a lot. So
I got lucky.
But, yeah. So we just but that's how we are. Like I'd rather put out the full price, like full retail price from eBay to get the thing rather than disappoint the customer.
That's the kind of service you give, man. That's good.
Cesar.
Well, listen. What can I say? The Dracula's Wolf on Instagram. I'm reaching the 600 mark, believe it or not. So it's actually 700. Nice. I just started in November. I'm going to do my first live sale in July 6th on Instagram. It's a whole different animal. I'm not moving, but I'm going towards the Instagram side of things. It's a whole different animal than Facebook. It's weird. It's a whole different environment. So it's very cool. I've made quite a few friends there, and going to be selling a lot of 90s, a lot of stuff, a lot of maybe some Illuminati #1. I don't know. I just got to get rid of the stuff. I don't care anymore. I'm focusing on my slabs, and that's all it is. So everything, my boxes for the 90s are going to go. And Brian, thank you so much. It's good catching up with you, my man. It's been a while. We
appreciate you guys.
Been a while. David, I'm going to see you Saturday. I'm going to have that towel wrapped around my thing like a coach. Massaging, you can do this.
Hey, just bring a little boombox and play the Eye of the Tiger or something.
Oh, he's going to be lifting like rocks. He's gonna be eating like peppers. Oh, he's gonna be a fucking mess.
Before I do my ending, I have to show y'all something real quick.
Hey, people like that promo, man.
Hold on, let's wait for the beginning. Hold on.
Oh, you're fucking funny. What?
Look at that fucking wink, bro.
Who's this?
It's me.
Oh, I didn't even recognize you without the beard.
See, I shaved today.
Yeah, like that looks like a totally different person. Holy shit!
See, I could grow a beard, and it's gray. See?
Can you hear it?
No, nobody can hear it.
Ah, dang it! Hold on. Dude, you need to hear what he's saying.
David, if David shaved, he'll look like a 12-year-old boy.
Yes. Like this is my chin right here.
And if Brian shaved, he'll look the same age.
Probably. I just use this to hide my turkey neck.
Can you hear it right now or not?
No.
Dang it! Hold on. Let me.
I'm sure it's something very prophetic, and we're missing out. And
he starts it off with, "Hey, I didn't see you there." I'm like, "What the
fuck?" Upside down.
Yes, exactly. I was like, "This guy being serious or
and
not?"
Then he winked at me at the end. I saw.
You see that? I was. Yeah.
You made David laugh. Thank you. At least you did something with it.
But anyways, if you want to go see the actual one, go see The Real Dracula's Wolf, and go see my post. You'll see it, and you can actually hear it. But there you go.
Brandon, he's gonna go on July 17th to shave his beard for Voices Against Cancer.
That's right.
That's coming up soon. With that being said, we will actually have a drink and draw show next weekend with Anbu and Ariel Diaz. Those sketches will be auctioned off, and that money will be donated to Voices Against Cancer as well.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
so as always, we always try to do. We did it last year with other show. We wanted to go bring that up over here, and so we have that one. And the end of the month, we have Ryan Kincaid versus Aaron Barling drink and draw. That's going to go to another charity. Then we have David Sanchez set up for August. It's going to be a charity for everybody. And then I actually was talking to Sean Forney, probably gonna set that up for September. So every month we're gonna do one charity event, and since I don't know what charity we're gonna do, we want to do something different. Each one will be something different. Honestly,
I think we should do something for the colon, some kind of charity for the colon after David's thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Mental health awareness.
Yeah.
I know it's mental health, mental health, and worse. Mental health awareness.
It's gonna be colon health after David eats that.
Remember, September is Suicide Prevention Month.
Oh, there we go. Suicide Prevention Month. All right.
After eating all those chips. Oh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't wait to see that. But with that being said, thank you very much, David. Thank you very much, Brian, for tuning in, stopping by. It was a good time, educational, more than usual.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I wish we had touched in some other subjects, but 2 hours went by pretty fucking fast, honestly.
Yep.
So I don't want to go any longer than that because we are going to bring David back up anyway. So we'll try to talk to him while he's, so, Hey, Brian, I saw your face when like this, like, Dave, what do you think is gonna happen? You bloody brain butthole. I'm good. All right, then we'll get you up set up for the future. We can get you on too. With that being said, guys, see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. See you.